Hey everyone, I'm Mike DeLong. Welcome to the Tater Talk podcast, where we explore the fascinating global potato processing industry. We'll share stories and insights about flakes, fries, chips, and crisps, and everything in between. Let's dig in.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Tater Talk podcast. And today I'm joined by Mark Samuel. He's spent over 2 decades building and exiting business across fitness and CPG worlds. He's also the host of the Let's Eat podcast, interviewing, hundreds of CPG players by now. And he's also the founder of Mark Snacks, a seed oil-free kettle chip brand. Mark, it's great to have you. Welcome to the Tater Talk podcast.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're all over my LinkedIn. You're very active, sharing your life and your journey with almost 73,000 followers. It was really impressive. And now you're building Marks in public. And what caught my attention seeing your content, Mark, was that you're like a fitness guy. You're a fitness-focused entrepreneur, and you decided to launch a potato chip company. And I have a feeling that there's an answer to that story that starts long before the brand came to be. So let's back up a bit and learn more about you. So were you always this entrepreneurial guy?
You know what? I got a follow up for you too. You'll find it and try to park this into your notes for later.
Oh, yeah.
And he doesn't even snack very much, if at all ever. So that makes it for even a weirder conversation when I talk to people. But anyway, go
Yeah, you're
ahead.
not even a snacker.
I'm really not a snacker. Go. What was the original
Well,
question?
I wanted to go back and talk about like how you've come to this point. Like, where does that entrepreneurial drive come from for you?
Yeah, I have been doing my own thing since the first company when I was 23. So north of 20 years I've been doing this thing, coming on 25 years. I've been doing different things. And I'm, everything from service related to consumer products. So I've done a plethora of different things. The last few ventures have been focused on health and wellness. Even this kettle chip, which we'll talk about, just better for you as far as health and wellness. And so where it came from, I was always doing something as a kid. It's kind of the story that you hear from somebody. Oh, I was always selling the baseball cards. I don't get into all that stupid stuff, but there's always something that I was doing younger that sort of made that roadway for where I had started my career.
Right. So you started early. When was it that you realized or first realized that you might actually be good at this and in this CPG space?
In CPG, I mean, nobody's good.
Well, or in
No,
any
and
space,
nobody's
really.
good at it.
Yeah.
Nobody's good at it. So I don't know what that is. That nobody's good at this thing. And I mean, I don't even know that those that I know who are wildly successful and had an exit. I don't even know if they'd say that they were good at it. They just were, lucky and in the right place, had a good product, and had a plethora of money to throw at something that eventually stuck. So again, folks, all my friends, don't relax. It's okay. You're good. You're good. You're fantastic. You're the best. You're the best. Anyway, I've been the consumer space. I've been in for longer than the 10 years I've been in what I'd consider the consumer space of food. So I had a snack company before this. It went flat, and we ended up licensing it close to a couple years ago. It became a very flat business, and I took my shot here as far as going one more round middle of last year to say, okay, if I was going to do it, what would it look like? Why am I dumb enough to do this again? Yes, check that box off. And so here we are. That's sort of the storyline there.
What was it that ultimately resulted in zeroing in on this snack brand, specifically potato chips?
Yeah, there was a few boxes that had to be checked when I did say, okay, if I was going to do this, what would it look like? And here were sort of the boxes. One had to be in a gigantic category. So again, there's like two sides to this, where somebody be like, why would you ever go into that category? It's wildly competitive, which again, every category is competitive. But like salty snacks, specifically chips, it's dominated by a few, and your chance of making it through are so slim. I just said, okay, it has to be a big category. So what I mean by that is I didn't want to necessarily even educate a consumer on what it was. Chips are in literally everyone's house. So I said, okay, check that box. Two would be sort of connected to it, but having at least a little position that I could differentiate was seed oil free. So I've known about seed oil free for a long time. I knew about seed oils years ago, far before Rogan or Huberman were talking about it. And then it became this thing, and it's a talking way before. So now that it had become a thing, I said, okay, well, I'd latch onto that knowing I could feel good about what the position was. So that was 2. 3 would be, it had to be wildly personal. I didn't know that my face would be on the front of the bag. Like like who would put a face like this? It's not even attractive. Like, what are you doing? But I didn't know that might like have my name on it. And then when I was playing around with that design, it was like, this kind of makes sense. And where I'll leave you with as far as the checkbox being connected to it on the third one is, I had to have it be a massive moat. It's like the kettle chip had to be fantastic. That's like table stakes day. Like, your product has to taste amazing. You're in a cat, like, it's got to be the best one, right? Or top 2, top. Okay, so check that. But like the moat, what could possibly separate you, and what could you own that nobody else could? That was where Marks came in. And part of that was also the storytelling. I really wanted to be able to tell a story that was my own and have no fucks given as far as what was said, when was said, and how it was said. And that is going to be one of those things where you can attach to a consumer or not attach to a consumer. And I'm really big on both. I think that's a really, really important piece to the magic today. So hopefully that answered.
Yeah, I mean, that answers it really well, actually. But I think a lot of people would still struggle with the idea of going into such a competitive market. I mean, it's a huge market, and you had really compelling reasons, but just getting over that initial fear of such a huge competitive market.
Yeah, yeah.
Did people think you were crazy for going into this?
Yeah, until I had somebody, I think it's crazy. And then you have somebody who actually, that they say, we're going to, I know this is going to sound crazy too, because I don't like this type of thing, but it's just, I had somebody who I really respect. And when we were talking through it, and I was still thinking kind of small, like, I just need this piece, this sliver of the business, they're like, no, we're going to go after Frito-Lay. Like, what, and I don't know how somebody's going to take that. I don't care about them. I could care less. I'm not even going after the consumer, because this is going to be an interesting, the person who eats Doritos, or like, I don't care. They could go eat that. In fact, eat it. You'll hear me. If you enjoy a handful, it's not going to do anything. It's so long you understand that you have to actively, exercise and eat healthy a majority of the time. Anyway, that's total side note, tangent. The point being, they wanted me to think bigger. That's my point. And I started to and realized, like, wait, there really is a big opportunity there if you could go and build this thing that I was describing. And I think that's important for people to know, like, you don't have to be thinking small. And at the same time, you don't have to say really stupid things like, I'm going to go and be, anyway. Hope you understand.
So would you say you're on a mission to talk about seed oil free and good for you snacking? Or is that more of like you're just developing a business opportunity because you saw this opportunity? Or is it both?
It's a lot of things. One of which is my North Star here is to build a platform big enough that allows me to continue to talk about health and wellness in the way that I see it. And that is wildly transparent. So I get to talk about why you should eat less snacks. I mean, just think about that for a second.
That's a little contradictory to a guy that's
It's
building a
very
snack
much
food
so,
company.
because I'm one of the only ones who is not absolutely bullshitting you through the process of making absolute shitty products, of which are shitty for you. And they want you to eat as much of it as possible. It's a real fucked up conundrum that we're in the industry. And it's been going on for 50 years, since the ultra processed food market has overtaken everything in the fucking grocery store, period. So with that said, I would like to just build a platform that allows me to tell folks, you can have those things. You can have a little bit of this and a little bit of that and do it. But what I would love for you to do and to understand and to recognize is for you to have ultimate health and the opportunity to live as long as you can and the best that you can physically and mentally. It's to eat as many whole, nutritious, dense foods as possible, hopefully 80% of the time. And the other 20%, you can have those other things, including what would really be a better for you option if you liked chips. Here's an option, some kettle chips, of which I stand by because they're absolutely fantastic. But I still want you just to have an ounce or so per serving. Like, just have a little bit. And moderation is key. So that's really my North Star. And yes, it's a little bit different, but it is what it is.
Well, it's pretty clear, and your authenticity and passion is pretty clear. So that kind of leads into, you had this idea, you've kind of like targeted this market opportunity. How did you validate that concept? Like, what was next for you? I mean, you're not a manufacturer, right? So like, where did you go next?
Yeah, well, because I've done this and things similar to it as far as a consumer product, I know where to go and how to get something developed immediately. And the marketing side is something that I'm into. So I know who to grab along with the journey to go make sure that this is executed properly. And that's what I did. Their validation comes somewhat early, like when you're playing around with the design. Like, I have a designer who's still a fractional marketing guy for me, who's been with me for 10 plus years. Like, when I was floating the concepts, I'm looking for him to tell me, like, I think this is going to work, and you don't really need one guy, or first off, it's your intuition, your gut. Then you start sharing it among some folks that are in your circle, those that you respect. And it starts being the common theme of, I really like this.
Yeah.
Like, no bullshitting. I'm really lucky in my circle, right? I've got no frills individuals, and we're all wrong all the time. If we were, we would be, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. I'd be on whatever. My kids and I would be wait. So the point, but they're giving you their best shot, and I like their best shot. And then after that, once you've produced the first product, now you got to get into the hands of people. So like the Amazons of the world, I'm big on, I want to know what Jan Smith in Missouri wants to know. She doesn't know me. I don't know her. She's at her desk about to write a review. She could give two shits whether or not it offends. I want to know what she's got to say, and 1,000. So that's where validation of the product occurs. Then third is, because of this brand, as I described, I've got big and bold on there, proud American, like there's some stuff on there that might be like, I got that quote unquote validation a little bit after that. People started, what is this? Had somebody come to me about, this must be a Trump support. I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck you're talking about. But I loved the sentiment because I recognized, okay, there's validation that there's an emotional connection or disconnection occurring here with the things that I'm saying. I talk about God, faith, parenting, youth sports coaching. That's going to touch somebody, or it's not going to touch somebody.
So real life, man. You're building it wide open.
It's mine, and I know it is millions of others too. But at the same time, my love of America and saying things online, socially, like, I support my president. I support my president. It does Trump, Obama, fucking Willy Wonka. It wouldn't fucking matter. You get it? That either people will resonate with that, or the fickle few come to me and go, what? What? You get it? Okay. So anyway, there's an answer for you.
Well, you knew the manufacturers, I guess, from your background and previous ventures, but what were you looking for in a potato chip manufacturing partner? Because like, you weren't in the potato chip business before. So how did you go out and find one that you really wanted to work with?
Such a good question. That one probably most miss, actually. Not in the general theme of discussion on co-packers and how to find the right one, because that's an animal of itself. I can list the multiple scenarios that can occur. I would, by God's grace, is how I would describe it. I found myself not only talking to a couple that I kind of knew of, but like found myself in the right rooms. And then in this particular room of who I'm partnering with, to get this thing going is just somebody who's been doing a long time. One, two is I saw the plant, saw how it looked, the floor. I look at the floors, how clean, like thing. 3 would be the operation as far as equipment. I'm really not only interested in that, I understand that type of conversation because my previous company, I'm one of those founders actually, because not all of us do it, and it's totally fine. Everybody's different. I went to a majority of the productions. I was very lucky. Our first production for a majority of those years was literally a few hours from me. So I would drive to it. That is wildly important if you're interested in understanding what manufacturing is, how it works, how the components work, how the ingredients work, the people on the floor, who do you make the relationships with? Like, I'm big on stuff like that. You're sitting in the manager's office, fuck that. I'm sitting with the guy who's touching the product. Okay. So anyway, that's a tangent. The point is that they manufacture and kettle cook a bit different than most. I'm just gonna leave it at that. And we have a product that to me has a resulting factor because of that, that is significantly better than anything that have seen on the market. Again, subjective, it's fine. Most who've had our product say it's a fantastic product. Thank you.
Most people would be intimidated by standing up some manufacturing and then all the distribution challenges that come with it. I mean, you got big vision. Cover the nation with your face, basically. It's on the bag.
Sad. It's
So
very sad. I'm so sorry, man.
what what have you learned that might be unique to potato chips about that whole distribution and supply chain aspect of this industry?
Well,
Is
you're
anything like
fighting.
really difficult that you didn't expect?
You're fighting I mean, you're fighting. It's such an uphill battle. But again, I say that with any product, any category, outside of even food and beverage. I just talk generally about any business. I don't care if you're a lawnmower service, land. You're competing with everybody. You're trying to just get, and in this particular case, you're trying to get on someone's truck who's going to be delivering to X, Y, and Z stores. And then at the stores, you're trying to get on the shelf and trying to get good placement. And hey, will they give us an off shelf? And maybe I like this guy more than the other 19 guys. Like, so that I'll just leave that. It's just an uphill battle that you are constantly working. And that's the name of the game, to constantly work it for as long as you possibly can.
You mentioned that having a high quality chip is like table stakes, right? And that's clear. But making a consistent high quality chip is really difficult. So how have you found how do you hold your production partner accountable to always produce at that quality expectation? Because raw is always changing. There's up years, there's down years, depends on where it's come from, stuff like that.
Well, nobody does what I do. I actually massage every potato that comes into the plant. I literally, I don't even go to the gym that day. I just sit in there hours massaging, 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 massaging. I kiss the potato. I just talk to it in Hebrew. Fucking, we pray. Do you believe me? No, you don't believe me. Okay, fine.
I don't believe you.
Okay, fine.
Nobody believes you.
You don't.
Maybe in spirit.
Yes, in spirit. You don't. I wish there was something that I could say. It's going to sound super guru-ish. There isn't such. There's an element of just faith that just occurs in anything. This, especially when building a business like this. And it's correct. I understood your thing here. You'll have to describe why this is a potato-oriented thing. I have no idea what is talking potatoes. The thing's called tater talk. I don't know. Understand. The point is, even again, there's some better quality ones that come in that shit, like it all happens. You just are hoping that things are above par, right? As often as possible. And two, that really the cooking, right? The systems in place with the cooking, because that's the core piece too. We use avocado oil. That would be a bigger issue. Like if your avocado oil was a bit off, that could be a real problem. They didn't fry long enough. They missed it. There's so many things but we've been lucky thus far, and I knock on wood here. It probably isn't even real wood. It's a table that I have in my kitchen that I allow my kids to friggin' beat the, crap. Anyway, you get what I'm saying. There's just
Yeah.
an, and so you just hope that everything is above par and that there's enough processes in place that by the time it gets bagged, it's the product that you and your customers desire. And we're working with enough solid people for us to make that happen.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, and it just be as you continue to scale, it's just that has the utmost importance to have the right partners in place, right? It's all about having the right partners in place to make sure you're all on the same page. We're not letting shitty quality product on the market. I mean, it's your face on the bag, right? And
Yeah, that's a
it's
good one. I think it's important. That's why I mentioned them before. I was kind of doing in just as a commentary piece, like the Frito Lays of the world, right? You have to actually, I'll use the Kettle brand in our category. Kettle
yeah.
brand, like you're talking about billions
Mhm.
of. You have to give them some credit, right? Like people would normally, but do you not like the fact that Lucky Charms? I'm like, I don't give a shit about Red 40. I'd drink that if nobody even knows what they're talking about. Anyway, that's another tangent. I'm just going to say this. The amount of quality control that is in place for a company that size is not even thought about. Have you ever opened up a Dorito bag before or like a Cheeto bag? Like I have. I just like, it's not that I'm around kids all the time. Like I see it. The systems are in place.
Yes.
Think about how many times it could be messed up. You talking
Yeah.
about bringing in materials, raw materials, and they have a bunch of raw materials. It's not just corn. So I just think there's a way to do it, and it's been proven by the big folks, the legacy folks, so long you have the right partners and people in place to make sure there's consistency from the time it starts.
Yep. I mean, playing in this space, one thing I've seen is that some emerging brands or even some middle market brands, they'll lose their way on quality or consistency on quality. And you'll get variation and every time you open up a bag, it's slightly different. And then what happens? Customer disappears,
You
right?
want to know why?
The trust is broken.
You want to know why? It's a great comment, though. The smaller folks, or even the mid-sized folks, it's a cash thing, right? It really is. Like it's not just cash position. Like, oh my God, I can't throw that stuff out.
Mhm.
I've got no money, right? Like that's one piece. And I know there's folks who watch this who are smaller, like startups, like not a lot of money to make. Like that happens all way more than people think. But connected to that is your relevance and your position of power to the partner, to the co-packer partner. You often couldn't be like, you're eating it. I don't like this product. That wasn't bagged properly. It's not even sealed properly. The taste is off. You didn't test you didn't do a salt test. Where's you don't have any power. And so a lot of times these companies have to eat bad product. And most of the time they have to make this really bad decision, oftentimes detrimental, to put a product onto the shelf that should not be there. How do I know? I've had to do it. And it's really fucked up. It's a really bad position to be in. And I would just say, I'll leave it at that. Again, my previous company, I had to go through a lot of different things that gave me a lot of what I'd consider to be back pocket information as far as what can, should, or does happen in the industry.
I'm guessing that a lot of that has informed the way you approach this current business, right? But I'm sure you're learning some new things along the way as well. As you build this brand, how has it been different for you compared to some of your past businesses? Other than having your name on it, you're going after a slightly different consumer. It's a different segment of the market than what you've done in the past. How is building a brand different for this business?
I really believe that we have something here. I know that sounds like something I should be saying, and I hope that every founder says that. And if they don't believe it, they got a problem. But I've done a lot of things, and I've had a feeling that something is right. There's no doubt about that. And I've had a purpose, or a North Star. Like there wasn't any reason I didn't want to get out of bed. But this one has something different to it that I cannot explain other than to say, I think I've got something with this. And as far as as far as, this other piece to it, I've got a partner sort of in the background that's making sure we're all good, but allowing me just to go and do my thing, which makes it a little bit less stressful. People
Mhm.
could piece that thing together, what I'm describing. And so that's how that's my answer for you. There's something unique about this that I think where it has some legs that's different than anything
There's
I've done.
like a bunch of different factors aligning and not discounting your own drive and passion at all, but there's a bunch of things lining that feel right for you.
Yes.
Yeah. How are consumers buying differently today than you've experienced in your career before?
I mean, the data, as people like to say, show me anything different than what's been occurring. I'm a big believer that people utilize information to make a point that's oftentimes in their best interest. And in this case, it could be for why it's working, why better for you is still in a play, why premium is or isn't working. People are saving money. They think they're going to lose. They're not going to lose. The stock market's up. The stock market's down.
Why start a snack company when everybody's on Ozempic?
Well, I
You know,
started snack from because everybody's doing people. Nobody's going to be snacking anymore. Nobody's going to be snacking anymore. I don't know what they're talking about. I'm not even going to say it because I'm just so sounds. I didn't know what I was about to say. Let me just say this. We are in a pandemic, a real one, not the one they faked us through 6 years ago. Okay, folks, I'm somewhat joking. Can you relax for a second? Okay. Wasn't joking, but I just saw somebody driving with a mask on in their car. It was really funny. Anyway,
still, yeah.
so anyway, the point is the real pandemic is the obesity rates, how we are overweight, how we there's nothing is coming to save us again. The GLP, these have been around forever. People miss that. No, it's not gonna, nobody's gonna snack anymore. Have you go to the beach? Anyway, I'm gonna leave it at that.
Sure.
There you go.
So you've been at this a long time, and on your podcast, you've talked to lots of founders in consumer goods. What have you distilled from your own experience and all those conversations on your podcast? What separates successful founders in this space from the ones who don't make it? Successful could be described a lot of ways or defined a lot of ways, but yeah, what do you think stands out?
I've been lucky. It's funny. I just was looking at that. I've done north of 300 interviews over the last 6 years, and I'd say 270 were founders, food and beverage founders. It's been awesome, and which really it's been not just me. I just have also so many connections. I have this amazing community in the space. It's been awesome. And what I would say is there really isn't a huge difference from those that I would look at and say, wow, that person is really smart and savvy and like they just got it versus maybe somebody who doesn't, because we've all seen it. We've seen folks who even we deem, well, like, how did they do that? Like, I
Mhm.
know that person. I know Shelly. I know John. I know Billy, Jennifer. I I could outdo. Like, we know who somehow made it. Then we know these other folks, Sarah and Nathan, savvy. Went to, they've got masters. When you talk to them, you kind of feel dumb, like they understand every aspect from marketing to finance, who didn't work. My point being this, there is no book. There isn't. I think you need a few different things to help you have a better chance of succeeding. There's no doubt about that. Good product, maybe a good name, some good branding, a ton of money. That one's a big one that people, access to money, right? And more of it later. Like, that's a big one. But like, the reality is, I know some people who have had success and they might even deem themselves as just fairly smart folks. There's the piece though that's important. It's that product, the timing, luck, and a few other things. God came down with his hands, you know, and sort of put the whole gift together for it to have a day of semblance of, there might have been a transaction, like whatever. So that I hope I answered that in some ways. Like I've met so many amazing people, and they're all amazing in their own right, and none of them might have a chance to make it to the end. There you go.
What do you think matters more than most people realize when they're starting out, founding a new company?
I would say that the product itself is I know it, I don't like saying it, and I know the product itself, I think, is overlooked sometimes. And I find
Really?
that to be odd. I always relate it to something that most would understand, which is restaurants.
Hmm.
The high rate of failure for restaurants, right? Like you have these restaurants probably even in your own area where you're like, that food sucks. First off, the service sucks, let alone, but the food sucks. You're like, how are they even in business? You know, you're not trying to take it to the nth degree here, but you realize like in a year when they're not in business, it's like, I know they had a chance. It was in such a good spot, but the food sucked. I relate it sort of similarly to what we do in food and beverage. There's a product that somebody put out and even they know it needs work. I'm not a fan of that.
Mm.
I'm not.
You get
Because
one shot to
you
win your
get one
customer.
shot. Jimmy's, come in and try it at the farmer's market. Why are you giving him a 7 out of 10? What's the
Yep.
point? So that you could get feedback from him and to know that it was fucking not good. No, you know. Your own mama told you it sucked. What are you doing? Anyway, if moms out there, maybe you didn't do that. I don't know. It's fine.
No, that's a great point. I mean, there's tons of, I know I've had products off the shelf and be like, why does this exist? It's not going to exist next year. They had their chance.
Correct.
Yeah, that's huge. So, I mean, all over your LinkedIn and in your bio, you talk about your kids, you know, your training, balancing nutrition. We talked about it here. So, how do you ensure that like your time growing this business and your energy growing this business doesn't come at the cost of those things? Has that always been the case where you've been able to balance that, or is it constantly tuning it?
That's a good question, but it's one that I always have the same answer for. I don't remember, you know, my son is 12. So prior to, and my daughter's 9. So prior to that, like pre-kids, you know, what was my balance? You know, people like to use these terms, work-life balance. I'm like, I don't even know
I don't
fucking.
think that exists.
Okay, yeah, I don't know what it's whatever. We like make up stuff names because we like to like have something to talk about in
Yeah,
a room. Okay,
true.
anyway, I personally just like to talk about Seinfeld episode or something. Anyway, the point is that I have always put my health first,
Mhm.
and that's just how it is. And I've explained it a very simple way, which is it's health, family, work. And that is how it's been for a very long time. And in fact, I'm now probably putting even more time to my health. I've noticed I'm now at the gym for 2 hours. I've never done that. But over the last, I want to say almost year, you know, it's slowly gonna. We used to be, you know, at the gym for like 90 minutes. Now I'm there for like a solid 2 hours. Point being, I need to take care of myself first before anybody. And a lot of folks either really understand that and they understand the sentiment, or they miss that and they're like, what, wait, no, that's selfish. What about your kids? What about your lady? What about listen, it's all good. We all can live any way we want. I'm just telling, my health comes first. It's priority number 1. The reason is because if I am not my best self every single day, how is it that I can be good for those things that are to follow, i.e., my family, kids, and then work, which is in that order. So I just like to make sure that I'm set foundationally, and then I can deal with all of these other things that are very important in my life. That is my answer.
That's a great answer. I love that philosophy. So we didn't touch on with your Mark Snacks brand. So where is Mark Snacks at today? Give us an idea of the scale of where you're at.
We're
And sorry,
slowly.
Mark, you launched this brand like less than a year ago, right?
Yeah, less than a year. We launched it. Basically, it was in sale. Started getting into market around September. So we're
Okay.
like 8 months in. 8 months in.
Yep.
We have a decent business on Amazon that continues to grow, and then we are growing out regionally. So we're start in the Northeast, but we're slowly going down the entire sea base there, basically from Northeast down to the Southeast.
Of California.
What's that?
Or of California or of the country?
No, from New York down to Florida.
Okay.
I'm in NorCal, and then we are in NorCal. We have a good presence here in NorCal. We have small distribution that started down in SoCal, and then we have distribution that is just now starting in the Wisconsin and Illinois territories, and then we're going to slowly be building from there. I'd say independent, we're we're going to probably reach 600 to 700 independents over the next 30, within the next 30 days. I would say we're in 1,000 independents by our 12th month, which is a nice little business.
Yeah.
And that's without any majors yet. So yes, in the background, we're working on some of those initiatives. And then, of course, we have our first few Costco road shows happening in June and July, which I plan to just absolutely dominate, and hopefully get some opportunities for club in line after that. So it's just slow, methodical growth, and we're happy with the way we're sitting right now.
You make sure that your manufacturing can scale with that growth.
You have to know before you get in there.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's part of it. Knowing that this big vision, you got we need to grow together, Mr. Manufacturer.
The big vision, it's a good comment, and it's part of the things where I said all the different layers as far as a co-packer.
Yep.
That has to be in the conversation right when you start, but it's also part of the sales pitch when you start. A really decent co-man really doesn't like touching these smaller outfits. It's a real pain in the ass. We were lucky because we started out with a full truck, right? Which is hard, talking about 30 pallets. Like, where am I selling 30 pallets of a new product? But we were lucky.
Yep.
But it's still a really small amount. They don't want to do one truck they want good business. The point being, the dream that has to be conveyed to your partners, that goes from everybody from a financier, somebody might be financing the business, to the film manufacturer, to the corrugated manufacturer, to your seasoning and flavor house, to your co-man who's got to become a partner with you. They got to feel the juice. They got to know that if they're investing their time with you, that it's not going to be some small outfit. That hey, give me time, man. This is going to be a thing, right? Give me time. They got to be in the boat with you. They got to be rowing with you. It's how I always describe it.
Right on. Where do you see you and Mark Snacks being, this time next year?
I think we'll definitely have a couple what I'd consider national accounts on board. We don't need a ton. Could be one. The point being that we will have built out our independent strategy, maybe some food service, maybe a little bit of club, good solid Amazon and direct business, but like a solid national that allows us to bring in a good amount of volume into one opportunity for us to support, I think will be a good piece of the story.
Mark, we covered a range of topics today, and it's been good to get to know some of your background and your philosophy. And, most importantly for our audience, what you're doing in snacks is pretty cool, and potato chips is cool. What didn't we cover that you want to make sure we share to those out there in potato land?
That's it. I gave it to you. I'm going to pick up my kids in a minute.
I wish you all the success as you continue to build this thing. You're killing it.
Thank you. I appreciate it, man.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, subscribe so you don't miss future shows. And of course, share it with a friend. And please leave us a review or rating. Your feedback really helps us bring you the best possible potato content. Be sure to check out the Tater Talk Podcast YouTube channel and other social platforms. To learn more about me and how I help potato processors grow their business, check me out on LinkedIn or at www.projectsconsultants.com. That's PROJEX consultants.com. So, thanks for tuning in. We'll be back soon, but until then, eat more fries.